Hey everyone, how's everybody doing? Let me fix this real quick. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Okay, let me see what we have going on here in this beautiful, wonderful chat. All the beautiful members. Sorry I was late. You guys know that I got a baby bunny to kind of take care of and deal with before I go live. Shout out to everybody. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Cash, Chico, Wim, Clover's in the house. You, you. Well, I don't know if they really told us anything different other than they're going to stop searching the property. Peekaboo, we gonna get into that right away. Spooky Paws, welcome, 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 welcome. Karen, how are you? Yeah, Sweet Jules is in the house. Thank you, thank you, thank you guys for being so patient with me. Tassie, Christina, Chico, Nat, how you doing, love? How you doing? Oh my God, I love those shades on you, by the way. Wim, Tricky Vicky. Tricky Vicky, did you change your name? I remember you, Powerful Vicky. Now we went to Tricky Vicky. Oh, I like it. I like it. Like it, like it, like it. All right. Trust no one. Life Chaos Nebulous is in the house. Thank you so much. Marie, welcome. Everybody, come on in, come on in, come on in. Shout out to Laced Chains who says, hey, I'm listening, but I'm at work. Do not get in trouble, guys. Don't let me fight. Don't let me get, fire you. Somehow you're messaging and in the chat at work when you're supposed to be working. Don't get in trouble because of me. Tammy, welcome. Desiree, welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, everybody, come on in, come on in. Nat Flo, welcome. I, the good Nat Flo, and then Nat Flo. You did change your name. Beautiful, welcome. Shout out to you. Yes, you changed your name. Okay, cool. They helped me pick it. Shout out to the Discord group. Daisy, new topic. How you doing, Daisy? Daisy girl, how are you? How are you? And all right, let's get going and let's get started because it is a lot going on right now in terms of these two cases. So we had a press conference this morning on the I think they call them in short LISK, which stands for Long Island Serial Killer. By the way, LISK, Long Island Serial Killer. It's a short abbreviation for that. So if you guys have been like, what the hell is this list? Because people were asking me, what is this list thing? That's what it stands for. Okay, let's watch this press conference. We did watch the first one about a week ago, and there have been various developments. This man has pleaded not guilty. He has not been charged. Hey, sinner. I mean, keep that in mind. Um, now, the number of victims, okay, given that he's like been under this radar, although not really because law enforcement has been watching him, the number of victims, I have a feeling that this man has probably killed a lot more than what we know right now. Hey, Krusty, I don't know. What do you guys? I mean, it is so crazy to me that it would just be this. Hey, dirty bitch, how are you, love? Um, I just feel like there's probably more. There's probably more. That's just me. Clarence says, "Good morning, y'all. Just started listening to you recently during your Farias coverage. Oh, keep up the good. Oh, well, thank you, Clarence the Conqueror. Thank you. Um, I I don't know. Let's go ahead and play this and let me know your thoughts. But in short, I feel like just to let you guys know, they're going to stop the searching of that property and let's see where they go next.
No, I don't believe at this time that we can say one way or the other. Either evidence evidence does not point either one way or the other. I would say that we have obtained a massive amount of material, which all of which has to be cataloged and analyzed, and it's going to take quite some time.
So, just a quick follow up. If a victim's DNA turned up on material in the house, would that indicate perhaps that she was killed here?
So I'm not going to talk about what ifs, but with regard to what if anything was recovered, it's going to be. It's not like TV. It's going to be a while for the analysts to do their job. Now it goes from here to trace section and then to if appropriate the DNA section. So that's
Wow. I mean, and said they're going to look into other states that he has ties to. Lord have mercy. I don't know. TF says, not guilty, my nalgas. Well, damn. Shout out to TF, who just made me laugh right now. Gilgo was my beach my whole life. I mean, but if you guys like just YouTube search Gilgo Beach and all this other stuff, like there've been reportings of a serial killer for a long, long time. Some of which was even before the time frame that they've even dictated. So it just kind of makes you wonder, right? You remember driving down the Ocean Parkway trying to get a look at the searches when this was all went down? Mm, really? Thank you, Peekaboo. The math ain't math, and you guys better hit that like button. Okay? Hit that like button.
That's a process.
Yesterday, the police commissioner said that the search was fruitful. Can you elaborate on any of the potential evidence taken from here?
I think what he's referring to is the amount of evidence, which is quite a lot. And now it's up to the job of the task force to go through that evidence. And we
Oh Lord.
So you want to call the
Facebook
shots,
doing
huh?
us
And if we
bad.
could just get final approval on the primary market.
Well, you better be the loudest voice in the room.
Documents are currently with our legal team, and I look
Oh my
forward to
God.
working with you further
Let
on
me
this
turn this
project.
And if
down.
you see an
It's so
opportunity,
loud on my end.
grab it.
that's a process, and we need to do that process. But we won't know exactly what we have for quite some time, because just given the sheer volume of evidence that was taken.
DA, one of the other news outlets caught drone footage of what looked like burnt bones in the backyard. Could you share anything?
I can tell you that there was ground piercing um, technology used in the backyard, and there specifically there was nothing of note taken from the backyard. As far as remains, there is a whole entire trace analysis that we have to go through with the house with regard to hair fibers, DNA, blood, which we'll just have to await the results on.
You know what? It's a little bit baffling. Yeah. Zedema says all we really hope for is a full confession with all his victims since day one, and at what age? Right. It is very baffling because somebody said, um, who said it? Somebody said it too here in the chat that this was likely like a cover up. I've heard this before too. Has anyone else seen the video of Rex being interviewed about his business by that friend? Yes. Yes. In my opinion, the big guy at the PD knew. Look, people have said different things. Like they knew. Look, to me, it's like, okay, I'm just gonna speak by the knowledge that I know, right? So like in Mexico, for example, we have what they call Las Muertas de Juárez, right? And it's a huge corruption and cover up going on down there where a lot of women are winding up, dead in various deserts in Mexico, right? And initially, I remember this was years ago. They initially thought it was like a serial killer. Then it went from that to like somebody in the police. And to me, like there have been no arrests, no nothing. And that's not to say that Mexico isn't advanced in forensics, because they are. They really could do a bunch of things. But the cover up and the corruption is huge. But over there, it is more out loud. I remember I interviewed somebody when I was looking into the Shanquella Robinson case about the Mexican prisons and how over there, it's corruption is loud, right? Here, people try to act like it doesn't exist. I mean, it does, but the cover up is a little bit different. Over there, it's not. They don't give a shit. They don't. They don't. So it's like here, it wouldn't be like it wouldn't surprise me, given that what I've known and what I've read into over there, that people do cover themselves up here. Corruption is real. It is. They always cover up or excuse men killing sex workers, but when Eileen Warnos, the prostitute, killed a man, they crucified her in court. Absolutely, Calamity. Absolutely. That's the thing. It's like people look away when it comes to sex workers. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the LISK cover up with Frank McKay goes deep on this one, Rabbit. There. I'm not surprised. I'm not, if there is a cover up. This is, oh my God, crazy. I'm new to this, but I will catch up. Yes, do, please do. I don't know about the story, seen the name in the videos. Now you're talking about it and I need to research it more. If it's good for Rabbit, I'm going to be Tabitha, I'm telling you, you're going to be interested in this one. How does a man, now mind you, there's a lot of stuff that we don't know, okay? But this man has been in the radar for a couple years. They've been watching him. He's an architect living in the community. Okay, married, has children, and while his family's vacationing, which I'm like, how often? Look, every family dynamic is different, right? But how often do people vacation without their husbands or wives? Maybe that happens a lot. Not at the Rabbit household, but maybe that happens a lot. If I vacation, you better believe that everybody's coming with me because it's not like I could take a vacation from the people around me. Now, this is a years in the making. Some of this isn't making sense. Now, I don't know. People have said the wife doesn't know, the DA doesn't believe that. I don't know, but like, how do you keep a dark secret? Keep in mind the BTK killer, bind, torture, and kill, right? Yeah, he has kids, grown children, grown. It's just weird, you know? I don't know.
Can you tell us about what was inside the vault downstairs? We've seen reports
There's
of
a vault
mattress
downstairs.
possibly being in there.
The house in general was cluttered, and there were a lot of guns taken
Ooh,
from the house. The
every
defendant
family's
had
different.
92 handgun permits. In addition to handguns, yeah, he had quite a few long guns as well.
Hmm.
There's a number of locations which we searched, but we'll keep that to ourselves for now.
Yeah, this has been entered into a national database. The suspect's DNA likely was entered into a national database, state database. Is there any hit with any other unsolved case so far?
So, with regard to state and national DNA databases, there are specific rules with that. Well, under New York and federal law. So, usually that only happens when you have a convicted person who's convicted of a crime. As far as specifically the database, his DNA has not been entered in that.
What about the evidence really jumps out? I mean, this is not just something that just stands out among all the rest. What stands out?
We're going to wait. I mean, I think everyone wanted that singular piece of evidence, but we're going to wait until we see all the evidence. But I don't think there's one thing that jumps out at this juncture.
Right.
DA, was there a mattress found in the vault?
I'm sorry. We're our investigation, focused on the Gilgo Beach, and we're going to continue to investigate that case and prepare that case for trial. And we have our investigation now has become public, obviously, and also it's broadened. So we're going to look at the other instances where bodies were recovered in that area as well.
Where bodies, that's like the way he makes it sound. I like to say a guy like Rex would have a couple of commissioners in his pocket or blackmail on them to allow him to continue his business in New York. The way he portrayed it, right? Right? Everybody's like, I vacation. Right. I'm just saying, like, that's a lot of vacationing. And I mean, how did he get away? There's women who lost her channel, Vacations Girl. That lady's crazy. Um, right. I'm curious to know what his wife and kids may have come back to from those trips that might have seemed off. Like, what was something off? I don't know. I would go on vacation, but I often do it to myself to see my grandchildren, says Queen Bella. Very true. I mean, I'm just like wondering though, to keep the consistency. And I'm just thinking that there's more than the victim. There's got to be more victims out there. You guys see how many years he's been doing this? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. My dad did annual golf trips with the men. Now I bet everybody's like, all right, let me go see who's vacationing alone so we can see what they've really been doing. Can't imagine how these kids feel right now. Their whole life is ruined. At this point, they should have changed their names legally and moved far, far away. Right. Right. Because how do you live this one down? Not only that, look at that community. That whole community. It's like they're like, What have we been living next to and this has been happening? Did you guys notice anything weird? I noticed something weird. People are probably trying to put piece things together. If your neighbor was a serial killer, you wouldn't be questioning yourself as to like the encounters you might have had or if you were even a target. Mhm. She did run that divorce lawyer very quick. Gay exact a lot of people they do have families. John, what's his name? Wasn't it Wayne Gacy? I don't think it's John, but it's Wayne Gacy. I can't remember his full name, but he's the one that would dress up in the little boys under the basement. Yeah, she did file for divorce already. Gotcha, gotcha. Gotta get the speculations. Like I gotta get the Dr. Pepper and Nutter bars. Don't forget the Cheez-Its. Just because of family dynamics, I almost travel solo. I wish I could travel solo. John Wayne Gacy. See, I know there was like a John somewhere. I remember watching a couple of like movies of him. It used to freak me out. I'd be like, God damn. Like, wouldn't he dress up like a clown or something? And it was like little boys. Yes, thank you. Dahmer got away for years. Years. BTK got away for years too. So it wouldn't surprise me. Okay? Truly. They have families. Well, I don't know about Dahmer. I don't think Dahmer had like a family, but I mean, he was close to his family, if that counts. Used to do weekend lady retreats, and maybe I'm codependent. My husband and I enjoy getting away together. I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't mind getting away together, but at some point, I'm just wondering, were there any signs or any like, what do you look for? You know, the guy had multiple cell phones, burner phones. Do you look for things like that, or you just brush it off? Um, what do you look for when it comes to this stuff? This is crazy, and I'm sure they're in shock too. The family. I don't know.
Forensic testing continuing on Maureen Bernard Barnes, and who is conducting it, and what do you know?
Investigation is continuing with regard to Maureen Brainerd Barnes, as well as other aspects of the case, and that's being done in the grand jury or through the grand jury process. So I can't talk about that.
Is that hair being forensically looked at in a more sophisticated way?
There is testing going on with regard to the hairs that were mentioned in the bail letter.
Just to clarify, he's not convicted yet. He's not convicted yet. So to clarify, are you not allowed to put his DNA into databases until after a conviction?
Under New York state law, that's correct.
Are you any closer to filing charges in that fourth case?
We're working towards that, and once our investigation is continuing.
Can you tell us what else was found inside the vault besides guns? Anything leading to believe of
The vault.
the inside?
The house could be categorized as cluttered. So there is a great deal of stuff that was recovered. So we're just going to have to go through it. But it's the list of items is quite large.
Inside the vault or inside the house in general? In other words, was there anything besides
Was recovered in the house until all of the pictures and the reports have been gone over.
DA, I need to storage area, or did people actually enter it?
It was a large enough area for people to enter, but like the rest of the house, it was cluttered.
I need to clarify something.
Water situation? Was it how cluttered was it?
It was a cluttered. There was a lot of just boxes, and it was very cluttered. I'd say environment.
DA, I need to clarify something, please. Because he's not convicted, can you not check his DNA against the 6 other people found in the Ocean Front?
That's a good
I didn't say
question.
that.
That's what I'm trying to clarify.
Yeah, you asked me about the database. The
Okay.
database is national, and that has I am not the members of our task force are not the guardians of that database. But with what we can do with regard to our own investigation is completely different. So you can't. One doesn't necessarily have to do with the other. If that makes sense.
DA, I think a little late. Were any human remains found?
No. Well, what I would say is we're still going over the trace evidence, but they were asking about with regard to the excavation in the back, if there were any large items of evidence recovered, and the answer to that question is no.
Was there any evidence in the backyard of things being
or an
burned?
alleged crime scene?
I'm sorry.
Do you consider this home a crime scene or an alleged crime scene at this point?
I consider this a home in which we executed a search warrant.
Was there any
I wonder. Oh my God. Yeah, it's good to vacation solo. It's great for yourself. In marriage, we do it. Been married for 30 years. Ooh. Yeah. I just wonder if there was anything that might have been missed. You know what I'm saying? She was a clear victim, and the effects of the family on these high-profile killers. They should be able to load his DNA into the system now, right? Right. I'm kind of wondering. Hey, Tico, the vault had over. Now, I know I got some gun owners over here. Not opposed to it, but do y'all really need 200 guns? That's a lot of guns. Is it like a collector's guns? I don't know. The former chief was accused of blocking the FBI role in the early investigation of the really monster? I had no idea. See what I'm saying? It's like, I don't know. Makes you wonder. They found almost 200 or 300. Pew pew. I know. So he had 90 permits? So is the difference between a gun collector? I know people that collect guns, and typically there's like a historical component to it, whatever. This gun does this, that gun does this. But hoarding of guns, 200? Y'all really need that many guns? Yeah, that that's an arsenal, not just guns. They're ready for the right, right. I'm just saying. My mom's neighbors had hundreds of guns, and he blew his brain. Ooh, I'm sorry, Tinkle. 100% he was involved with sex workers too. No comment. Just need to. Oh my lord. No, that's too many guns. There, 200. They have a vault. Maybe maybe they bought a lot and they lost count. Now, could any of those guns have been used as murder weapons? I don't know. He likes to think of power, right? Did they know that they owe? Like, did the family know that they had that much arsenal? 200?
Evidence in the backyard of things being burned.
I can't specifically say one way or the
Can
other.
you tell us what led up to the decision to excavate? Is there any tangible cause, or is it
So there was ground technology that was able to see through the ground, and there were a number of disturbances that were found in the ground. But until you dig it up, you don't know what it is.
What do you mean? How do you?
Like a disturbance could be like a
Hi, my name is Susan
Facebook and
Amelia.
these
My
ads.
goal, what causes me a lot of anxiety
Lord,
is fear of the future. I work in a very high stressed environment. Work-life balance.
If anybody
Having to be
needs
away from
life
my
and
family.
health, in-person virtual care, check them out. All right.
a cistern or a branch or
Solid object.
a bicycle, anything that's buried under the ground. You can see the impression of it, but you don't necessarily know what it is until you dig it up.
And then there's the investigation down with the number of sex workers who now say they were contacted by you.
So when we started our investigation, we did through the grand jury. That investigation was we wanted to maintain the secrecy of the grand jury investigation. Obviously, now that there's been an arrest, it's become public. So we are interviewing a great many people.
Wow.
We're interviewing a great many people, but we're going to keep what our conversations, what if any conversations we have with our witnesses between us and the witnesses.
And these witnesses are coming from different states.
I'm sorry?
Are these witnesses coming from different states?
I don't think that this investigation is limited to New York State, sir.
Regarding the Chevy avalanche, you have often spoken about March 14th, 2022 as being the watershed moment. You were able to identify him as a suspect. There's been a lot of talk in the last 12 days about clues missed early on, like that this car wasn't looked at. I mean, can you explain why that might have happened?
Clues missed early
I
on.
think we laid it out pretty extensively in our bail letter. For us, for our task force, our task force started February 1st, 2022. 6 weeks later, we had identified this individual as a target, and we talked about a number of factors which allowed us to do that. The hairs that we spoke about, the 5 hairs of note with regard to the bodies, those were recovered shortly after the bodies were recovered in December of 2010. With regard to the phone evidence, that work was done and completed by the FBI in early 2012, and and with regard to the avalanche, that information was made available shortly after the disappearance of Amber Costello. But again, when you look at everything, that is three items that are in and amongst thousands of items. So
Man, but it just makes you wonder, like, other connections. If my husband had 200 guns, there'd be no way I wouldn't know. Well, that's a question. If your husband and or significant other, wife, had this many weapons, y'all think he wouldn't know? I don't know. That's what I'm wondering too, Layla. Is like, out of the 200, are the weapons there that were used to delete his victims? Or was it something else? Remember how they did the DNA? I think it was like through a pizza box or something. I wonder how the ATF didn't pick up on that. They usually will lay a visit when you have that many. Right. It's like if you're registering that many guns, or maybe they're not even registered, assuming that they're registered. Right? So the conference here, in short, this is what they're, and we're not going to play this whole thing, but this is what they plan to do. They are done searching that area. We're going to skip over a little bit further down because they're just kind of answering questions to kind of where we're at right now. And then we're going to go over there to the Taylor Schabusiness situation, because that, oh my gosh, we got to do a little trial rundown about what's been going on. This lady, I mean, is giving me Boltisha vibes at this point. The lady has court gestures, okay? She's going like she's doing the finger thing, okay? She's doing the
Maybe there
finger
was
thing.
some blood droppings.
Well, as I said, we look for trace evidence, and that we have that is a process that is a scientific process that is done in a lab, and we just haven't had the time to go through that process. So it's incomplete. So you can't say anything more than it's incomplete.
Did you find anything that would be characterized?
Were all of them related to firearms, or was there another type of weapon?
We're talking. I'm specifically talking about what would commonly be referred to as a firearm. No, and the only reason why I sort of hedged with that is because under New York State law, like a black powder, but the public would say that's a gun. Well, under New York State law, that might not necessarily qualify as a weapon, or under federal law certainly. I have nothing to provide with regard to the brother's house in South Carolina. I have no information. I have no comment with regard to what's going on in South Carolina. It's not my jurisdiction. We are for all intents and purposes done with the search. Very soon.
Okay.
That's we're going to rely on the Suffolk County crime lab. They're going to do it. Withdraw at a time that they deem appropriate, but as far as the search of the house, for all intents and purposes, that has been concluded. I'm not going to get into the specifics with regard to the search. We were looking for trace evidence.
Is that for August 1st?
I'm sorry?
Is that what we can expect to remain August 1st?
Correct.
And what can we?
Do you guys think that he used any of those weapons in those murders? My stepdad had a room with a deadbolt lock on the outside of his guns. He only had about 8 or 9 though. He was an avid hunter. He went to Africa to hunt, and he had the animals taxidermied. I don't get it. But you knew, do you feel like you knew exactly what was in that room, right? I don't know. Like, what if you, like somebody said in here, hold up. If he had 91 permits, so I would say 91 had to have been registered. Well, what about the other ones? Where would he have gotten the other ones? Exactly. A deadly weapon is a deadly weapon. Very true. We just don't know if those were the weapons that he used, right? And then the neighbors. Probably neighbors didn't even know what was going on, Queen Bella, that's a great question. We don't even know if they were shocked. We're just assuming, But it's the fact that they found that many weapons that kind of makes us wonder, well, damn.
Expect that court date. We learn more about the evidence during the county.
We're going to be, that's
Gotcha.
the first
Thank you, love.
after the arraignment. So just a typical court conference. We're going to talk about discovery, providing the voluminous discovery in this case. That process is going to start. As a matter of right, defendant has a right to a bail hearing. So we'll see what happens with regard to that.
Has any of the evidence you've discovered at the house led you to a theory on the manner of death?
Other than what we've said at the time of arraignment, no. And the cause of death with regard to the 3 victims has been categorized as homicidal violence.
Did you find any trophies? You had spoken about potentially looking for trophies.
We're not going to specifically talk about specific items of evidence until everything's
trophies
cataloged and gone over. As we said, there is quite a lot of stuff.
Did anything discovered at the property lead your agents to feel emotionally moved or psychologically, shifted?
I think that we have a job to do, and we're also human beings. But I think that I would commend all of the examiners for their professionalism.
Is that to say the public, you may never know if he's guilty, how he killed them, because it's been so long that we've gone?
I think we have to let the process work out.
CA, I'm sorry, could you tell me, is there going to be a search by Gilgo Beach or near Ocean Parkway? Anything happening over there?
So, we don't announce our searches before we do them, so we just can't make a comment as to specific areas, if any, searched.
Where was this vault in the home, and was it sort of thing that you could walk into?
It was big enough to walk into, and it was in the basement.
A vault big enough to walk into, and it was in the basement. I mean, honestly, I don't know if we really did learn anything different here. They're focusing hard on the firearms, so I'm assuming it played a part, right? Inheritance, maybe transfer someone else got a record. He may have used his guns to force his victims to do what he wanted them, similar to RA and Delphi. Not all guns in New York need permits. Rifles and shotguns don't need permits. Wow. So they're not even specifying what kind of guns. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I wonder if other bodies are his, and if he switched MO. We know of 11, I think. That's what we've heard. But there's probably more out there. I don't know. They use see, and that's more. Definitely understand that piece. It's irresponsible to not know what's in your home and property. You just don't know. Now people nowadays can change on you and not even realize it. Right? I mean, if there's a gun in your house, I would hope that everybody would know. Not all guns in Tennessee have to be registered, but I think we're looking too much into the guns and not the act itself. Very true. Very true. And his property look trashy? I don't know, guys. I mean, maybe could there be other people that knew his situation? Could he have confessed to other folks as well?
Thank you. Okay, thanks, guys.
Thank you.
I don't know. I don't feel like we learned anything different. I'm just like anything different than what we've, I mean, they're stopping the search. That's what they're doing. So let's talk about this Taylor Schabusiness lady. Look at what Court TV captured. Lord have mercy. Look at this. It's giving me Boltisha vibes. Y'all see that? Look at those gestures. She was doing all this at court. Look at that. What do you think? Let me stop sharing that real quick and go to just a little breakdown for those. I've been in and out of the trial, just trying to watch different things and whatnot about this trial. So for those that want just like a little breakdown, I was able to find this article by greenbay.com. It's one of their local news sites. So the Taylor Schabusiness trial is underway as she is charged with the killing and mutilation of a man in Green Bay. Okay, so the charges stem from an alleged incident on February 22nd, 2022, where Schabusiness allegedly killed Shad. She is facing the following charges: first degree intentional homicide, mutilation of a corpse, and third degree sexual assault. So this was yesterday. Yesterday was the 24th, correct? Yes. July 24, 2023, day one of the trial. Judge reads through the purpose of having 4 extra alternatives. These 4 will be excused and not participate in deliberations. Schabusiness pleaded not guilty and not guilty by mental illness. Now, mind you, the judge, I believe they had gone through she had gone through an evaluation and she was found competent, right? Competent. One evil ass lady. Look, I mean, it is a gruesome crime. Okay. Yes. Yes. So I figured some of us are like, we don't want to hear about this gruesomeness. I'm being one of them. I will tell you, I mean, I'm not going to describe details, but you could definitely see when there were some interviews with I think paramedics and like EMS staff, and some of the evidence this woman put this young man's head in, I think it was like a, don't quote me, but like a bucket along with his um private areas. Okay. She seems so medicated now. Okay. But she's the same lady that was attacking, I think she attacked her attorney. This lady is just evil, evil as they come. Okay. Truly evil as they come. So, it's not like she's taking, well, at least not that we know of, but maybe she's medicated through approved medication. People have said that she went through like a LSD situation or whatever when these crimes were committed. I'm not really sure, but to me, her affect hasn't really changed. I have not like her. It's a very just weird. She's not really there affect. There is nothing in her eyes. Nothing in her eyes. You know, definitely smiles at creepy moments. Sick ass heifer. Yeah, the testimony made me sick to my stomach listening to it this morning. Meth. Well, she's not taking anything now, but her affect is just like she's like not even there. They make straight jackets for a reason. This lady, I mean, I don't know. She fed attacked her previous attorney. She's probably court order medication to control her because she isn't restrained in court right now. Right. Right. I'm surprised. Do they even have her on handcuffs? Thank you, Santa May, for becoming a member, love. Competency refers to helping with her defense. Insanity to the time of the crime, and she's sick, a psycho, meth induced, but she's a psychopath or a sociopath, right, Emily? Like one or the other. Because to me, she has no affect in her, like there's nothing. Shout out to the Glare. You guys check him out. He did a review on us yesterday. Thank you, Glare, for the flowers. I appreciate you. I appreciate the many, many flowers. Yeah, mood stabilizers and stuff like that can do that. For maybe that's could be she could be taking mood stabilizers, but it's like nothing is there. Nothing is there. She's got a very like I don't know, no emotion, no nothing. Nothing is there. Very sociopath. Maybe very medicated. Maybe like generally Jenny, the medication is giving her that. Could be, but nothing is there. No emotion, no nothing. Like she could probably do this again. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Very true. Many people have addiction issues, mental health issues. They don't go murdering and dismembering people. Very true. Very true. It's almost like she can't even be bothered at court. You know what I'm saying? Like she can hardly stay awake. She can't even be bothered. You know? You'd be surprised. Drugs are more accessible behind bars. Yes, very true. And she very well could be in some heavy drugs. Prescribed, non-prescribed. True. True, true, true. All right, let me see. So, the phase one questions of whether Schabusiness committed the crimes and the lawyers making opening statements. Opening statements are not evidence. Prosecutors' opening statements describe the scene and set of the stage of the crime. And the set stage of the crime mentions all of the Schabusiness charges is facing. Schabusiness is presumably innocent. Presumably. This is the defense opening statements. She and the victim were friends, describes the scene from the victim or from the defendant's standpoint, and asks when considering all facts, don't jump to a conclusion. There are always two sides to every story. Could be. Prosecutor calls first witness, played the audio recording of the 911 call from February 23rd. Exhibit 2 is the body cam footage of an officer at the residence where the alleged crime happened. Multiple members of the Green Bay Police Department recalled the events of the morning of the alleged crimes. Cross-examination of the Green Bay police officers goes through step-by-step analysis of his arrival and walkthrough of the crime scene. Prosecutors called 11 witnesses to the stand on day one. Lord have mercy, that is a lot for day. I mean, can you imagine being a juror and just being exhausted by all of that? Completely. It would be too much for me to even consume or even think about in one day. Taylor, and I'm going to pull the legal analysis on this. Taylor Schabusiness, day 1. I know that they're in day 2 right now, but we're just looking at day 1, okay? Let's look at day 1 because Law and Crime did a little bit of a breakdown. Shout out to Law and Crime. We're going to look at this here in a minute. 1 second. Let's see. Hold up. Where's this breakdown at? So 11 witnesses. The witnesses list included the victim's mother as well as the person who made the call to the police department. Judge asked the counsel to arrive at 8:15 a.m. Tuesday, and the jury returns at 8:30. The story will be updated to help with the help of Local 5 Samantha Peters, who will be in the courtroom each day. So they're going to be doing this little breakdown for us each day. For those that don't necessarily want complete gruesome details, right? I mean, it happens. It's a very gruesome trial. Give me 1 sec, guys. 1 sec. Here we go.
Lifts a towel that's covering the bucket. It's a beach towel. And unfortunately, sees essentially a mother's worst nightmare. That her son's head
Mom
is
found this.
New shocking
Mom
details
found
revealed
this.
in the chilling case of Taylor Schabusiness, the Wisconsin woman accused of murdering her lover, sexually assaulting him after.
I don't like the way. Let me tell you something. Look, she makes the wing on that eye, like that eyeliner wing. Lady looks evil. Now I'm more conscious about am I doing the wings like her? I need to be careful. Why does her last name? I know Schabusiness. I know it's a very interesting last name. I couldn't even figure out how to pronounce it at first, and I'm like, I think it's Schabusiness, like Schabusiness. Wow.
Cutting his head off and dismembering the rest of his body. Monday marked day 1 of the disturbing trial, where we saw inside the alleged crime scene for the very first time.
That's how she put it. I found my son's head in a bucket. So I'm dumbfounded. Didn't believe her.
Are you positive my son's head is in a bucket? So right there, look right, there's a bucket when it's hard.
Lifted the towel off, and there was, in fact, a human severed head.
Oh my God.
Never saw a head in a bucket, correct?
Correct. 25-year-old.
He said, never saw a head in the bucket, correct? Correct. It is very disturbing. She's married and her husband. Are you serious? I didn't know she was married. She's married? And her husband stands by her? Where did they meet? Before or after the crime? I heard she legally changed her last name because she wanted to. To Schabusiness? He's in jail till they married, like inmate marriages? Wait a minute. So, like, was it like a pen pal marriage thing? They met that way? Wow. I don't know. Absolutely. Can you imagine? Her husband is in prison, but she is married, right? How did they meet? When did they meet? How did they even have time for all this? I mean, I don't know. Wow. It is very disturbing. Thank you, Cash, for the $4.99. I am not going to read that. You tell that to the Claire directly, please. I'm not reading that.
Taylor Schabusiness now stands trial in the murder of Shad Therion, who investigators say she killed in February 2022. Wow. She now faces multiple charges, including first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and third-degree sexual assault. She's pleaded not guilty and not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect.
But ultimately, the case comes down to choices and responsibility. The defendant made a series of choices, February 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. Choices to use methamphetamine, choices to kill her friend, Shad, choices to then utterly degrade him after the fact.
Wow.
During Monday's opening statements, Brown County, Wisconsin Deputy District Attorney Caleb Saunders laid out investigators' timeline of events.
The evidence in this case will show that in the early morning of February 22nd of 2022, the defendant strangled her friend Shad Therion to death using a dog collar.
Wow.
That after he was dead, engaged in sexual acts with him, this body, subsequently dismembered him
Wow.
using kitchen knives found in the home. You'll hear testimony and evidence will show that in the early morning of February 23rd, it was a Tuesday, kind of a normal cold February in Wisconsin, at a house on Stony Brook Lane. It's sort of, if you know the area, west side of Green Bay, Fireman's Park, West Mason Street, that area.
Wow.
Tara Pakinich is kind of in her home and is awoken by a storm door shut. There's a door that's sort of abuts the garage, driveway to the residence, normal single-family home in the area. Here's a storm door close and is awoken from sleep. It's early morning, 2:30, 3 a.m., somewhere in there. She goes and gets up. It kind of wakes her up, and she's aware at that point that her son, Shad, was in the basement with a friend, Taylor. And right next to the stairs, there's a 5-gallon bucket that you'd get at a home center. And she lifts a towel that's covering the bucket. It's a beach towel. And unfortunately, sees essentially a mother's worst nightmare. That her son's head is in the bucket.
Saunders described how Schabusiness and Therion's sexual encounter quickly escalated to something much darker.
You'll hear the defendant describe that what apparently begins as a somewhat sexual encounter escalates to a dog collar being placed around Shad's neck. And the defendant quite vividly describes what she then did. She's yanking on the chain. She's describing what's happening to Shad. It's evidence that you'll hear, and you'll hear it from the defendant's own mouth, that shows that this is an intentional act. It's not one pull of a gun trigger. It's an intense act. You'll hear about that from Vincent Tranquita, Dr. Tranquita as well. She's pulling harder, just hoping that he eventually passes, and it takes a significant amount of time. It takes several minutes. So you'll hear her say. After that, after Shad's deceased, she describes what she then does with his body, again, engaging in sexual acts, ultimately dismembering him quite significantly. She reports that afterwards, that law enforcement would have fun finding all the body parts that are located throughout the basement.
I remember that.
Law enforcement where to find certain body parts. Like I said, it wasn't obvious to law enforcement who initially respond to that basement what happened.
In the defense opening statement, Schabusiness's attorney Christopher Freilich reminded jurors the burden of proof falls on the state.
Now, in this case, the state of Wisconsin, through the Brown County District Attorney's Office, has the complete burden of proof. The state must prove to all of you jurors beyond a reasonable doubt each and every element of the crimes charged beyond a reasonable doubt. The United States Constitution presumes that every person who is accused of a crime is presumed to be innocent. And in this case, Taylor Schabusiness is presumed to be innocent. She doesn't have to prove anything. The defense does not have to prove anything in this case.
Freilich also teased ahead to the possibility that Schabusiness may take the stand in her own defense.
My client, Taylor Denise Schabusiness, also has an absolute right to remain silent. Under the law, she has a right not to testify if she so chooses. And if she elects not to testify, you cannot use that fact alone against her in this trial. She doesn't have to testify, but she may testify.
To wrap opening statements, Freilich urged jurors to remain even-keeled.
When you're considering all of the evidence, don't jump to conclusions. Don't rush to judgment. Please keep an open mind. Listen.
Please keep an open mind. Don't jump to conclusions. Okay? Not everything is her fault. All right? The burden of proof is on the state. It's not her fault.
To all the facts, listen to what every witness has to say carefully and weigh what they have to say. And remember, there's always two sides to every story.
Yes, there is.
You jurors are going to have to decipher the facts of what may have occurred, what didn't occur. But at the end of the case, we ask that you find our client not guilty on all the counts. Thank you.
With the start of testimony, so too came new pieces of evidence for the public, including the initial 911 call made by the victim's mother and her boyfriend.
I have no clue what's happening with my girl. Swears that she's found her severed head of her son in the basement.
Did you go down there?
In a bucket. I went down, I can't tell what the I'm part of my language, I'm kind of a little freaked out.
Stephen Hendricks tells dispatch his girlfriend, Tara Packanack, found what she believed to be her son's head in a bucket at the bottom of her staircase.
Are you hallucinating, or do you think that?
I don't think so. I went down and there's something in the damn bucket. I can't, I don't know, man. And she's a little freaked out and kind of freaking me out.
Hello? Hi, Tara. So can you tell me what's going on?
Pretty positive my son's head is in a bucket. I know in my basement.
What makes you think that?
Because I looked in the bucket.
And what did you see?
Exactly what I told you.
Okay, where's the rest of the body at?
No idea.
Tara Packanack told jurors she found her son's head by happenstance.
Were you concerned that your son or his friends were peeing in that bucket?
Oh
It was
my.
a possibility. I didn't know why the bucket was there.
Okay.
Normally isn't there.
And
And it was covered.
and you kind of came upon the bucket, happenstance kind of, right?
Right.
So then you took the towel off,
I did.
and how long did you look in the bucket?
See, that
Seconds?
I don't know. Seconds, probably.
Okay, did you put the towel back then?
And I put the towel back, yes.
While on the stand, Hendricks described the moments before he called for first responders.
Oh my
That's how
God.
she put it. I found my son's head in a bucket. So I'm dumbfounded. Didn't believe her. Thought she was having a mental issue or something. Go downstairs and see what the hell she's talking about. And I can't see anything. So we go back upstairs and contemplate what the heck to do.
I guess what do you do specifically when you go downstairs?
I went to the basement and observed a bucket that she said, but I don't know, my mind blocked it out. About all I seen was like hair, like an animal, or something. I didn't know what the heck.
Oh my
When
God.
police arrived to the home, body camera video shows them approach the bucket.
Oh my God.
Look like there's a bucket with a towel on it.
That is insane. You gonna show us the bucket?
Green Bay Police Department officer Alex Waynish described finding the head in a bucket and chunks of flesh throughout the basement.
At the bottom of the stairs to the right, there was a green bucket with a shower towel on top of it, just to verify we had an actual head in a bucket. Lifted the towel off, and there was, in fact, a human severed head in the bucket.
Did you see any other parts of a human body?
No other parts of the human body, no.
Did you notice any areas of potential blood?
Yes.
And where was that?
Beyond the stack of mattresses, there appeared to be blood on the floor and then small chunks of human flesh.
That's
Jurors
insane.
also heard pieces of Therion's body were recovered in duffel bags, a crock pot box, and a purse.
Had you ever seen anything like this before in your experience?
I have seen mutilation, but nothing to this extent before.
Never saw a head in a bucket, correct?
Correct.
After you looked at the bucket and the contents of the bucket, did you pronounce death then, or
Yes.
what was the time of death?
I would have to check my report.
Was it sometime after 11 a.m.?
Yes.
Did you know of any other concerns that were in the basement?
Look at her
after you looked
face.
at the bucket?
I was.
Y'all see her face? Her face. Taylor's face. Did you guys see that? Hold up. I'm like distracted by her face.
Yes.
What was the time of death?
I would have to check my report.
Was it sometime after 11 a.m.?
Yes.
Did you know of any
Did
other
you see her?
concerns that were in the basement after you looked at the bucket?
Did y'all see that shit? It's a smile. I know I'm not the only one seeing this. You guys see that? Oh my God. Hold up.
Bucket, correct?
Correct.
After you looked at the bucket and the contents of the bucket, did you pronounce death then, or
Yes.
what was the time of death?
I would have to check my report.
Was it sometime after 11 a.m.?
Her
Yes.
face.
Did you know of any
Complete
other
smirk.
concerns that were in the basement after you looked at the bucket?
I was notified that they suspected that there were human remains in other receptacles or other containers within the basement.
The trial is expected to last throughout the week, but could have a more rigorous deliberation process than usual. Jurors must first decide whether Schabusiness is guilty. If deemed guilty, jurors must then decide whether she's responsible for the crimes based on her plea of mental disease or defect.
Wow. Yes, you guys saw it? You guys saw it. You think she's drugged up? She gives 0 fucks? It's like a snark to her eye. I mean, great, like, okay, of course, like, you know, with the whole Letitia Stout trial, we didn't have that much of an up close to her face. We have such a huge up close to this face. Like, oh my goodness. And just how gruesome this was. And like, oh God. Lord have mercy. I just cannot. Hold up. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me show you guys another one before I head out. This is crazy.
When you got there, just to check it out?
I did.
And did you look at the bucket?
I did.
When you got down there,
She has to be sedated, you think?
PPE gear?
The very first time I got there was not. There's the uniformed officers there that weren't in it. There was some question about whether the body was there and why it had not been found yet. Some question about how well we looked for it. So we did do a quick look through and then came back up.
Wow.
When you, Detective Scanlon, when you went down the stairs, did you see a towel over the bucket?
By the time I got there, it was already removed and off the side.
Laying on the floor?
Yes.
You looked in the bucket, obviously?
I did.
Did you move the contents of the bucket? No. Okay. There were other items in the bucket later on that you found out about, correct?
There were.
What other items were in the bucket?
There was remains, 2 different specific types of remains that I observed.
Okay.
There was a human head. There was genitalia in the bucket.
Let me stop you there. What do you mean genitalia?
What I would recognize as a penis and testicles.
And were they laying underneath the head?
They were visible after the head was removed, yes.
What else did you see?
I observed a black Miracle 3 kitchen blade knife that was removed. Kitchen knife. I observed a yellow pocket knife, I guess for best description of the pocket knife with a yellow handle. There was a head of a razor, like a shaving razor blade, nail, Jolly Rancher, and there was a flesh material that the doctor just described as a flesh material.
Wow.
Blood in the bucket as well?
There was blood in the bucket, yes.
This is all in that black bucket, correct?
The black Fleet Farm bucket, yes. Container 1.
They don't have the death penalty. Thank you, Red Door woman.
What did you do next then after you fully investigated the contents of the bucket?
So we refer to 4 containers in the home, and it's just a matter of staying organized with the recovery. We went from left to right when looking at the basement. So we moved to container 2, which was the blue Jimmy Choo bag. And then Dr. Trenkaita set it down on a blanket, sterile blanket that he had brought. And then he started to remove the contents of it in front of us to observe.
That's what people are saying,
Fair to say
methamphetamine
that all of you were
psychosis.
going through this together as far as looking around and investigating certain things.
Yes, we're all together at this time. Yes.
And in the meantime, was Taylor Schabusiness over at the police department with Detective Groff and Detective Kemp?
She was.
And were you communicating with Detective Kemp by phone or
I
text?
don't remember which one I spoke to. I was getting phone contact from one of the two of them.
So information was going back between officers, correct?
Yes.
And the focus of your investigation was the basement of Stony Brook. Is that fair?
The basement, and then, you know, as we found the knives, I went upstairs and tried to identify whether or not those knives had come from the kitchen. So I did travel back upstairs to take a look at the knife block, and then I looked in the drawer.
And then her comment to police was, hopefully they'll have good luck finding the body parts, because I guess she put body parts everywhere. I'm not really sure. But is that a defense? Like crazy meth psychosis? Right. What is the defense? I don't know. I've done meth many times and I've never dismembered anybody. This is insane. Can you imagine? I don't know. Hold up. Let me go and fast forward real quick.
And while all this was going on, the forensic specialists, Andre and Charneski, were taking pictures, correct?
Yes.
Did you find any evidence of drug use down in that basement?
I did.
What did you find down there?
There was a methamphetamine pipe, or what I recognized to be a methamphetamine pipe on the entertainment center. And there was a green gem baggie with a crystal substance that I later checked out more thoroughly.
Wow.
The meth pipe that you observed, where was it?
It was on the entertainment center, kind of a makeshift dresser to the left of the bed.
And did you find drugs?
There was what I believe to be drugs, yes, next to it in the gem baggie.
Do you think they would disclose if she's medicated in court because of her kind of reactions to the various things that they're talking about and the way she's reacting? I mean, do you guys think that they would?
When you say gem baggie, is that a plastic bag?
Yeah, a little small, like a 1 inch or an inch and a half green.
Yeah,
baggie.
she confessed and then pleaded not guilty.
I later field tested it for methamphetamine. I believe it was crystal methamphetamine.
Right, Tabitha.
What was that?
That was to the right of the meth pipe.
Did you find any marijuana?
I did not know.
Did you find any packaging for marijuana?
I did not know.
Could I approach your arm? You may. I'll show you this board as exhibits 70, 71, 72.
Lord have mercy.
Exhibit 70, do you recognize that?
I do.
What is it?
That's the entertainment center. That picture depicts the methamphetamine pipe. Next to it's the green gem bag I referred to.
Notice how they're putting the camera on her?
With some placards
Look at
that
her.
our forensic specialists put down photograph.
Is there any packaging from a company called Loom in Iron Mountain in that picture?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Is there any packaging from a company called Loom, L-U-M-E, in that photo?
I don't see it.
Okay. This picture, Exhibit 70, does it depict that entertainment center in the basement of Stony Brook Lane?
Yes,
Was that picture taken on or about February 23rd of 2022?
it was.
Okay. Exhibit 71, could you identify that?
That it just appears to be the same area, but a close up of the green gem bag and the watch in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
That gem bag later turned out to be methamphetamine, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Did some of it spill out on the entertainment center?
Looking at this close-up photo, there is There are white specks on the entertainment center. I don't know if that's that. I didn't use a narcotic wipe to see that. No, I don't know.
Okay. Does that picture show that entertainment center and contents on that item from Stony Brook Lane on February?
She does
23rd?
look bored.
Yes.
Okay. Could you turn your attention?
She
to
looks like she
Exhibit
can't be
72?
bothered with this. Right,
Can you
Nebulous.
identify what that is?
It's the same area. It's a close up of the gem bag.
Is that the gem bag that was on top of the entertainment center on Stony Brook Lane in the basement?
It appears to be, yes.
You had a chance to take a good look at that,
Yeah.
correct? Yes. I'll offer Exhibit 70, 71, 72.
The objection.
No.
Those be received.
She does.
Um,
She does.
When you did your search of the basement, did you find anybody else in the basement? Any
Other
other
than the
people down
remains,
there?
other than the remains of Mr. Theory, no.
Did you canvass the area and make contact with neighbors?
I did.
Why did you do that?
I had some time while waiting for the doctor to arrive, waiting for the warrant to get done.
Wow.
So rather than stand there, I decided to do a standard neighborhood canvass, to talk to some neighbors, to see if any of the neighbors were up last night or had observed anything that they would be relevant to the investigation.
Did you get any information that was relevant?
I did.
What?
I did.
What did you get?
I talked to some neighbors across the street who told me things that they've seen. I documented their information and went to the next house.
All right. So, very interesting. We're not going to be watching anymore. I mean, let me know your thoughts. She just looks like she can't really be bothered. It could very well be that she's medicated very heavily. I'm not really sure. The smirkings are happening during the trial. She's doing the finger gestures. She can't really be bothered with all this other information. I do think that they're trying to establish mental health, but I don't think it's going to fly as well, given that she is competent to stand trial, right? Like that's the other thing too. But it's a like, oh my gosh. And when the camera goes right to her, I'm just like, is she really sleepy, or is she just acting like she can't be bothered by this? She confessed to this crime, and now she's pleading not guilty. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying. Well, guys, I'm gonna have to let you guys go, but let me know your thoughts in the comments about this, the Gilgo situation, and now we have this situation. Let me know your thoughts. I'm also looking into this whole suitcase. Did you guys hear about the not three bodies? The remains found in the suitcases floating off of the beach somewhere in Miami. Did you guys hear that one? It's a lot. We will be back today. I will see you guys in a little bit. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you're watching the replay, thank you. And thank you for those members and super chats. I appreciate all of you guys. I'll see you guys in the next one. Rabbits out.